telling me you used to love me. I'm like, this is my husband here. This is so weird. Why do you think this is appropriate? Your wife should be here if you're going to tell things like that to me. Where's your wife? Don't say things like that to me.
Kody Brown has done a lot of questionable things over the years, but what just aired on Sister Wives might be his most uncomfortable moment yet. The self-proclaimed patriarch sat down with his ex-wife Christine and her husband David Woolley in Las Vegas, supposedly to deliver a heartfelt apology. What viewers got instead was something that left jaws on the floor and fans reaching for their remotes in secondhand embarrassment. This was not an apology, this was a bizarre, rambling confession that had Christine visibly cringing and David looking like he wanted to be anywhere else on the planet. The whole thing started awkwardly enough. Kody arrived at the restaurant knowing full well that Christine had brought David along for support. He claimed he invited David out of respect, but sources close to the situation suggest Christine made that decision herself. She knew better than to sit alone with her ex, especially given how their relationship ended back in 2021. Smart move, because what came out of Kody's mouth next would have been even more disturbing without a witness. Kody launched into what he called an apology, but it quickly veered into territory nobody expected. He started reminiscing about their marriage, calling it poetic and beautiful. He compared their relationship to a storm and a sunset, waxing philosophical about the hard days and the good days like some kind of tortured artist reflecting on his masterpiece. The problem is, viewers watched 15 seasons of that so-called masterpiece, and it looked nothing like poetry. It looked like neglect, dismissal, and a woman slowly realizing she deserved better. Christine sat there with a look that said everything. She has heard Kody rewrite history before, but this was something else entirely. He was not apologizing for how he treated her. He was not acknowledging the years of feeling like second best, the scraps of time she got while Robin received the lion's share of his attention. No, Kody was essentially telling his ex-wife, in front of her current husband, that their failed marriage was actually a beautiful journey. The audacity is almost impressive if it were not so deeply inappropriate. David, to his credit, kept his composure throughout most of this performance, but you could see the tension building. Here was a man sitting across from his wife's ex-husband, listening to that ex-husband wax poetic about how much he used to love her. In what universe is this appropriate behavior? In what world does someone think this is what an apology looks like? Kody seemed completely oblivious to the discomfort he was creating, too caught up in his own narrative to notice that nobody was buying what he was selling. This was supposed to be the second stop on Kody's much-publicized apology tour, following what many considered a surprisingly successful meeting with Janelle in North Carolina.
However it was a life experience, and it was incredibly poetic. It was beautiful like a storm and a sunset. You know, there was hard days and there were good days, and it was beautiful from a poet's perspective.
But whatever goodwill he might have built with that first apology evaporated the moment he opened his mouth in Las Vegas. And trust me, it only got worse from here. Christine was not about to let Kody steamroll her with his revisionist love story. When he started going on about how much he used to love her, how beautiful their marriage was, she stopped him cold with a question that cut right through the nonsense. Where is your wife? Those 4 words hung in the air like a grenade. If Kody was going to sit here and confess his former feelings, why was Robin not present for this conversation? Why did he think it was appropriate to tell a married woman he used to love her while her actual husband sat right there? Christine did not hold back. She looked at Kody and told him directly that this was weird. She pointed out that David was sitting right there, her husband, the man she chose after walking away from decades of feeling invisible. The audacity of Kody thinking he could waltz in and start reminiscing about their romantic past was not lost on anyone in that room. Christine made it crystal clear that those kinds of declarations belong in the past, and more importantly, they belong in conversations where your current spouse is present if you insist on having them at all. The boundary Christine set was firm and immediate. She told Kody not to say things like that to her. This was not a woman interested in taking a trip down memory lane with her ex. This was a woman who had moved on completely, who had found genuine happiness with a man who treats her like a priority instead of an afterthought. Kody seemed genuinely confused by her reaction, as if he expected her to be flattered by his confession. That disconnect alone tells you everything about how little he understands about the damage he caused. What made this moment even more powerful was Christine's composure. She was not yelling or crying or making a scene. She was simply stating facts. You do not tell your ex-wife you loved her while sitting across from her new husband. You do not pretend like acknowledging past feelings is some kind of gift you are bestowing upon her. And you certainly do not do any of this without your own wife present if you claim to be in a healthy, transparent marriage with her. Christine called out every layer of inappropriateness in Kody's approach without breaking a sweat. Fans watching at home erupted on social media. The consensus was overwhelming. Christine handled that moment with more grace than Kody deserved, but she also made sure he understood the line he had crossed. This was not the vulnerable, desperate Christine from earlier seasons who would have accepted any crumb of affection Kody threw her way. This was a woman who knows her worth, who has a partner that reminds her of it daily, and who refuses to let her ex rewrite history to make himself feel better. David sat quietly through this exchange, but his presence spoke volumes. He did not need to intervene because Christine handled it herself. But his turn was coming, and when it arrived, he would say what everyone had been thinking for years. The apology itself was a masterclass in missing the point. Kody sat there with what he probably thought was sincerity and delivered a list of regrets that left everyone scratching their heads.
Here's the thing, he's not available, so we don't have to worry about
for
it.
an apology.
I'm not going to ask him for an apology. What? Ask him for an apology.
You know what?
Listen,
It's
you offended
defending
my
our
wives.
honor.
Would you give me an apology,
Yeah.
please? Completely saying goodbye to him and saying, hey, listen, my wife has my balls in a sling.
His big confession? He was sorry for playing the victim when he was not actually the victim. He was sorry for saying he never loved Christine, blaming that statement on anger. And that was essentially it. Two vague admissions that barely scratched the surface of 25 years of documented dysfunction. Let us pause and consider what an actual apology to Christine should have included. How about being sorry for abandoning her when she was pregnant with Truly while he focused on courting Robin? How about apologizing for refusing to hold her hand or kiss her, making her feel undesirable in her own marriage? What about acknowledging that he failed to show up for Isabel's scoliosis surgery, forcing a teenager to undergo a major medical procedure without her father present? The list of legitimate grievances stretches back to the very first season, yet Kody addressed none of them. Instead, he offered this bizarre non-apology wrapped in poetic language about storms and sunsets. He talked about their marriage like it was some kind of artistic experience rather than a relationship where Christine spent years begging for basic affection and attention. He wanted to acknowledge the good times, he said, as if highlighting a few pleasant memories erases the overwhelming pattern of neglect that drove her away. This was not accountability. This was Kody trying to massage his own image while technically saying the word sorry. Compare this to what he told Janelle just 1 week earlier. With Janelle, Kody admitted he had been a bastard for years. He acknowledged specific failures like not having her back during difficult times, not advocating for her within the family structure. That apology, while still self-serving, at least contained recognizable admissions of wrongdoing. With Christine, he could not even muster that level of specificity. He defaulted to vague statements about being angry and playing victim, neither of which directly addresses how his behavior affected her. The contrast reveals something important about how Kody views his former wives. Janelle got something resembling an actual apology because perhaps he still respects her in some capacity. Christine got word salad and romantic reminiscing because he still does not fully understand or accept why she left. He thinks the problem was his anger after the breakup, not the decades of treatment that led to it. He genuinely seems to believe that if he had just handled the split better, everything would be fine between them now. Christine saw right through it. She told him the past was the past and she had already moved on. She did not need his apology to heal because she had already done that work herself. But Kody kept pushing, insisting that an apology could not hurt. He needed her to accept this performance to validate his effort, and that desperation exposed the real purpose behind this entire tour. David Woolley had been sitting quietly through most of this spectacle, watching his wife's ex-husband fumble through one of the strangest apologies ever captured on reality television. But when Kody kept pressing, kept insisting that Christine needed to hear him out, David finally stepped in, and when he spoke, he delivered the truth bomb that fans had been waiting years to hear.
What are some others? Apologize for being the freaking victim, because I wasn't. That just sort of seemed to seep into me a little bit. Sometimes the experience was good. I mean, I'm not telling you where to be.
Start with your kids. 3 words that stopped Kody in his tracks and exposed the fundamental flaw in this entire apology tour. The moment was electric. David, calm and composed, looked at Kody and pointed out the obvious. You know damn well you loved her because you would not have gotten married and had all these kids if you did not love her. It was a direct challenge to Kody's revisionist narrative, a refusal to let him play word games about whether or not the relationship was real. But more importantly, David redirected the entire conversation to where it actually needed to go. Forget apologizing to ex-wives for a moment. What about the children Kody has systematically abandoned over the past several years? David described himself as the third wheel, sitting there wondering what exactly he was doing in this conversation. And honestly, he had every right to feel that way. Here was Kody waxing poetic about his former love for Christine, essentially confessing lingering feelings to a married woman while her husband sat inches away. The awkwardness was suffocating. But David did not lose his cool. He channeled that discomfort into something productive by forcing Kody to confront the real issue. The ex-wives have moved on. The children have not. Fans immediately rallied behind David on social media. Finally, someone said what needed to be said directly to Kody's face. For years, viewers have watched this man prioritize his relationship with Robyn while his other children drifted further and further away. They have seen him demand apologies from his own kids rather than offering them himself. They have witnessed him skip major life events, miss important milestones, and blame everyone but himself for the resulting estrangement. David cut through all of that noise with a simple directive: start with your kids. What made David's intervention even more powerful was his restraint. Kody had essentially admitted that David probably wanted to punch him, and honestly, most viewers would have understood if tensions escalated. But David kept his composure, choosing words over confrontation. He acknowledged that he could see things from a guy's point of view, that he understood certain aspects of where Kody was coming from. But that grace came with a condition. You want to apologize and make things right? Then stop focusing on the women who have already healed themselves, and start focusing on the children who are still waiting for their father to show up. Christine watched her husband speak, and you could see the pride in her expression. This is the man she chose. This is the partner who has her back. And unlike Kody, David understands that actions matter more than pretty words. While Kody was busy delivering his poetic apology to Christine on camera, a scandal was brewing that would expose the true nature of his so-called reconciliation tour. His daughter Mykelti revealed on her Patreon that when Kody traveled to North Carolina to apologize to Janelle, he never bothered to contact any of his children living in the same state. Not a phone call, not a text message, not even an email. 4 of his 18 children reside in North Carolina, and he ignored every single one of them while filming his televised mea culpa. Let that sink in for a moment. Kody flew across the country specifically to apologize to his ex-wife for being angry and bitter about their breakup. He sat down with Janelle, delivered what many considered a surprisingly decent apology, and then presumably flew back home to Arizona. At no point during this trip did he think to reach out to Maddie, Mykelti, Paydon, or Savannah. These are his biological children, some of whom have expressed openness to reconciliation if he would just make consistent effort. He was right there in their state, and he chose not to see them.
It's true, we married under circumstances that were not romantic.
They were for me. They weren't for you.
Okay.
It was romantic for me.
I didn't know better.
Mykelti did not hold back when discussing this on her live stream. She confirmed that neither she nor her husband Tony received any communication from Kody during his visit. She pointed out that if he had been staying at Maddie's house or anywhere nearby, they would have made the 3-hour drive to see him. The offer was there, the willingness existed on their end. But Kody never extended the invitation because apparently his children were not part of the itinerary for this carefully orchestrated apology tour. The hypocrisy is staggering. Here is a man who claims he wants to heal relationships and move forward as a family. He told Robyn that he wanted to set his ex-wives free, to get them to stop thinking and talking about him. But what about his children? What about the kids who have publicly stated they would welcome him back if he showed genuine effort and consistency? Mykelti has said repeatedly that she considers herself and her siblings a package deal. You cannot cherry-pick which relationships you want to repair while ignoring the others. This revelation adds crucial context to David's pointed advice during the Christine meeting. Start with your kids was not just a suggestion, it was an indictment of Kody's entire approach to reconciliation. He is willing to fly across the country to apologize to ex-wives on camera because that generates content for TLC, but reaching out to his estranged children, the ones who actually need to hear from their father, apparently does not make for good television. Or perhaps it requires a level of accountability that Kody simply is not prepared to offer. The North Carolina snub became the most talked about moment of the season among dedicated fans. Reddit communities erupted with criticism, calling out the blatant disconnect between Kody's words and his actions. And this was just the beginning of the uncomfortable truths about to surface. Just when you thought the apology could not get any more uncomfortable, Kody delivered a line that left everyone stunned. He looked at Christine, gestured toward David, and essentially took credit for her current happiness. happiness. If I had not messed it up, you would not have what you have now. He actually said that. He framed his years of neglect and emotional abandonment as some kind of twisted gift that eventually led Christine to find real love. The audacity was breathtaking. This was not humility. This was not genuine reflection on his failures. This was Kody finding yet another way to center himself in Christine's story, even the chapters that have nothing to do with him. He could not simply apologize and accept responsibility. He had to spin his wrongdoing into something that ultimately benefited her, as if she should be grateful that he treated her so poorly for so long. Without his failures, the logic goes, she never would have escaped and found David. Therefore, in some convoluted way, Kody deserves a portion of the credit for her happiness. Christine's reaction said everything. She pointed out how weird it was that Kody was saying these things with her husband sitting right there. She could not imagine what was going through David's head in that moment, and honestly, neither could viewers. Here was Kody supposedly apologizing for his behavior, but simultaneously fishing for acknowledgement that his bad behavior produced good results. It was manipulation disguised as remorse, a classic tactic from someone who refuses to fully own their mistakes. The credit grab also revealed something deeper about how Kody views relationships. He genuinely seems to believe that Christine's life revolves around him, past and present. Even her marriage to David gets filtered through the lens of what Kody did or did not do. He cannot accept that Christine found happiness independently, that David loves her for who she is rather than as some consolation prize for a failed plural marriage. In Kody's mind, everything still connects back to him because he cannot imagine a world where he is not the central figure. David handled this moment with remarkable restraint. Kody even joked that David might want to punch him later, but probably appreciated him right now. It was an attempt at humor that fell completely flat because it exposed how little Kody understood about the dynamics in that room. David does not owe Kody gratitude for treating Christine badly. Christine does not owe Kody acknowledgement for driving her away. Neither of them owes him anything except perhaps the patience they displayed by sitting through this entire performance. What Kody failed to grasp is that Christine rebuilt her life despite him, not because of him. She made the brave choice to leave after 25 years. She did the emotional work to heal. She opened her heart again and found a partner who cherishes her. Kody contributed nothing positive to that journey. He was simply the obstacle she had to overcome. And watching him try to claim otherwise was infuriating for fans who have followed her story. Kody wants everyone to remember the good times, but viewers have 15 seasons of footage that tell a very different story. This is a man who admitted early in the series that he married Christine not because he was attracted to her, but because of her pedigree. He wanted the blue blood of polygamist royalty, the connection to her grandfather Rulon Allred, who founded the AUB Church. Christine was a strategic acquisition, not a love match, and Kody made that painfully clear from the beginning.
This is kind of awkward. I'm like the third wheel sitting here thinking, okay, what am I doing here? And you know damn well you loved her because you wouldn't have got married. You wouldn't have had all these kids if you didn't love her. It's just weird. Sorry.
The pattern of neglect started before cameras even began rolling and never let up. Christine spent years complaining about feeling like the basement wife, literally living in the basement of their family home in Utah while other wives had better arrangements. She begged for more time, more attention, more affection. She openly admitted she did not know if she believed in plural marriage anymore because the reality was so different from what she had been promised. And through it all, Kody dismissed her concerns, mocked her feelings, and told her things would improve if only she were more lovable. Remember when Kody refused to hold Christine's hand in public? Remember when he made it clear that physical intimacy had left their marriage entirely? Remember when Isabel needed surgery for her severe scoliosis and Kody chose to stay home with Robin rather than fly with his daughter to New Jersey? He blamed pandemic restrictions for that decision, but Christine saw it for what it was. He simply did not prioritize their children the way he prioritized his life with Robin. That surgery became a turning point. The moment Christine realized her marriage was beyond saving, the list goes on and on. Kody demanding hour-long massages from Christine while never reciprocating. Kody openly showing more excitement about Robin before they even married than he ever showed Christine throughout their entire relationship. Kody moving the family to Flagstaff without proper consideration for how it would affect Christine and her children. Kody implementing strict pandemic rules that conveniently kept him at Robin's house while other wives and children were left isolated. Every season brought new examples of favoritism and neglect. Now this same man wants to sit across from Christine and describe their marriage as poetic. He wants her to focus on the beautiful moments like storms and sunsets. He is asking her to participate in his fantasy version of their history, to validate his reframing of 2.5 decades of of documented dysfunction, but Christine has no interest in playing along. She lived that reality. She remembers the tears, the loneliness, the constant feeling of never being enough. No amount of flowery language can erase what she experienced. The contrast between Kody's words and the visual evidence available to anyone with a streaming subscription is jarring. He either genuinely does not remember how he treated Christine, or he is betting that enough time has passed for everyone else to forget. Either way, the internet never forgets, and fans were quick to pull receipts. One question lingered over the entire Christine meeting that nobody seemed willing to address directly. Where was Robin? If Kody was going to sit across from his ex-wife and confess that he used to love her, if he was going to wax poetic about storms and sunsets and beautiful memories, should his current wife not be present for that conversation? Christine certainly thought so, which is exactly why she asked the pointed question that left Kody fumbling for an explanation. Robin's absence speaks volumes about the dynamics at play in this family. Reports indicate that when Kody traveled to North Carolina to apologize to Janelle, Robin was explicitly told she could not come. Janelle set that boundary firmly, and Kody apparently respected it. But the Christine meeting was different. Kody claims he invited David out of respect, yet he showed up alone without his own spouse. The asymmetry is telling. He expected Christine to bring her partner while conveniently leaving his own at home in Flagstaff. Behind the scenes, insiders suggest Robin has been struggling with the entire apology tour concept. When Kody first proposed the idea, Robin reportedly broke down in tears. She admitted that the thought of the ex-wives potentially returning to the family fold terrified her. She said she could not handle it, that she would fall apart if reconciliation actually happened. This reaction reveals something important about how Robin views her position within what remains of the Brown family structure. She is not rooting for healing. She is protecting her territory. Fans have long accused Robin of gatekeeping. Kody's relationships with his other children and ex-wives, the pandemic years provided ample evidence of this dynamic, with Robin's house operating under strict protocols that effectively kept Kody isolated from his other families. Now, even as Kody attempts to mend fences, Robin remains conspicuously absent from the reconciliation process. She is content to let him make these trips alone, perhaps trusting that his apologies will fall flat and nothing will actually change. The irony is thick. Robin frequently positioned herself as the peacekeeper during the early seasons, the wife who wanted everyone to get along, who cried at the thought of family discord. But when actual reconciliation becomes possible, she retreats. She cannot even be in the room when Kody discusses his past with Christine. Her comment about what makes her go raw for Kody being when he acts like a good dad drew particular criticism, since fans noted she only seems concerned with his parenting of her own children, not the 13 others he fathered with his ex-wives. Christine calling out Robin's absence was a power move that highlighted the fundamental dishonesty of this entire apology tour. If Kody truly wanted to heal relationships and move forward transparently, his current wife should be part of that process. Instead, Robin hides at home while Kody delivers romantic confessions to his ex. The optics are terrible, and Christine made sure everyone noticed. She has stopped protecting Kody's image, and she certainly has no interest in protecting Robin's. David told Kody to start with his kids, and that advice cuts to the heart of everything wrong with this apology tour. Kody has 18 children, he is estranged from the vast majority of them, and yet his grand reconciliation plan involves flying around the country to apologize to ex-wives while completely ignoring the sons and daughters who are still waiting for their father to show up. The priorities could not be more backward, and his children have taken notice. Leon, Kody's only child with Mary, posted a scathing response on social media after watching their father claim he reaches out to his kids. They called him a liar and a joke of a father, stating plainly that Kody has not contacted them since Garrison's funeral in March of 2024. That funeral was for their brother, a young man who took his own life while estranged from his father. The grief in that family is immeasurable, and Kody apparently could not muster a single phone call to check on his surviving children in the months that followed. Maddie has expressed conditional willingness to reconcile, but only if Kody demonstrates a pattern of consistency. She wants to see genuine effort over time, not a single televised apology followed by months of silence. Her conditions are reasonable, perhaps even generous, given everything that has happened. But Kody seems incapable of meeting even this low bar. He wants immediate forgiveness without doing the sustained work that rebuilding trust requires. He wants his children to come to him on his terms rather than acknowledging he is the one who needs to make amends. Mykelti has been perhaps the most vocal about what reconciliation would actually require. She has stated repeatedly that she and her siblings are a package deal. Kody cannot cherry-pick which children he wants relationships with while ignoring the others. He cannot reach out to Mykelti while continuing to neglect Isabel, Savannah, Truly, and the rest. If he wants back into her life, he needs to demonstrate that he values all of his children equally. So far, that demonstration has not materialized. The cruelest part is that Kody blames his children for the estrangement. He has claimed they are punishing him for a crime he did not commit, that he is only guilty of not falling madly in love with their mothers. He blames trash talk and innuendo from his ex-wives for poisoning his kids against him. He refuses to accept that his own actions, documented across hundreds of television episodes, are the reason his children have distanced themselves. Taking accountability for his parenting failures seems beyond his capability. These are not small children who will forget his absence as they grow older. These are adults with their own families now. Adults who have watched their father choose Robin and her children over them time and time again. They have processed that rejection, and many have decided they are better off without him. Kody's window for reconciliation is closing, if it has not already shut entirely. So what does this apology tour actually reveal about Kody Brown? Fans and critics alike have reached a near-unanimous conclusion. This entire exercise is performative nonsense designed to keep Kody and Robin relevant for continued TLC programming. It is not about genuine reconciliation or healing old wounds. It is about generating content, creating dramatic moments, and ensuring that the Brown family saga continues to pull ratings even as the actual family structure has completely collapsed. The timing alone raises suspicions. Kody announced his intention to apologize to his ex-wives after the sale of Coyote Pass property, an event that should have provided closure for everyone involved. Instead of quietly moving on with their separate lives, Kody proposed this elaborate tour that would conveniently fill multiple episodes of season 20. 3 ex-wives means 3 separate meetings, each packed with potential drama. Christine got a 2-episode arc featuring both the apology and whatever comes next with David. The whole thing reeks of production planning rather than genuine emotional impulse. Reddit communities have dissected every frame of these apology episodes, and the consensus is damning. Users point out that Kody never apologizes without cameras present. He never reaches out privately to rebuild relationships away from the spotlight. Every gesture of reconciliation happens on TLC's schedule, captured for broadcast and monetized for profit. The ex-wives recognized this reality long ago, which is perhaps why Christine seemed so unbothered by the whole performance. She knew it was theater. She played her part and went home to her real life with David. Industry insiders suggest that viewers are growing tired of the Kody and Robin show. Ratings have reflected a desire to see more of Christine, Janelle, and Mary living their best post-Kody lives. The apology tour might be a calculated response to this feedback, a way to keep Kody connected to the more popular cast members while giving audiences the confrontations they crave. If that is the strategy, it explains why Kody's apologies feel so hollow. He is not trying to repair relationships. He is trying to stay employed. The saddest part is that genuine reconciliation was probably possible at some point. If Kody had approached his ex-wives privately without cameras, without the pressure of creating television moments, things might have gone differently. If he had started with his children, as David suggested, he might have built the foundation for actual healing. Instead, he chose the path that benefited his public image and his paycheck, and everyone involved saw right through it. Christine and David sitting through that bizarre apology deserves recognition. They gave Kody more grace than he earned, more patience than he demonstrated throughout his marriage. They listened to his poetic ramblings about storms and sunsets. They endured his inappropriate confessions of former love. And when it was over, they went back to their happy life together while Kody returned to Robin and whatever remains of their increasingly isolated existence. So what does this apology tour actually reveal about Kody Brown? Fans and critics alike have reached a near-unanimous conclusion. This entire exercise is performative nonsense designed to keep Kody and Robin relevant for continued TLC programming. It is not about genuine reconciliation or healing old wounds. It is about generating content, creating dramatic moments, and ensuring that the Brown family saga continues to pull ratings even as the actual family structure has completely collapsed. The timing alone raises suspicions. Kody announced his intention to apologize to his ex-wives after the sale of Coyote Coyote Pass property, an event that should have provided closure for everyone involved. Instead of quietly moving on with their separate lives, Kody proposed this elaborate tour that would conveniently fill multiple episodes of season 20. 3 ex-wives means 3 separate meetings, each packed with potential drama. Christine got a 2-episode arc featuring both the apology and whatever comes next with David. The whole thing reeks of production planning, rather than genuine emotional impulse. Reddit communities have dissected every frame of these apology episodes, and the consensus is damning. Users point out that Kody never apologizes without cameras present. He never reaches out privately to rebuild relationships away from the spotlight. Every gesture of reconciliation happens on TLC's schedule, captured for broadcast and monetized for profit. The ex-wives recognized this reality long ago, which is perhaps why Christine seemed so unbothered by the whole performance. She knew it was theater. She played her part and went home to her real life with David. Industry insiders suggest that viewers are growing tired of the Kody and Robin show. Ratings have reflected a desire to see more of Christine, Janelle, and Mary living their best post-Kody lives. The apology tour might be a calculated response to this feedback, a way to keep Kody connected to the more popular cast members while giving audiences the confrontations they crave. If that is the strategy, it explains why Kody's apologies feel so hollow. He is not trying to repair relationships. He is trying to stay employed. Christine and David, sitting through that bizarre apology, deserves recognition. They gave Kody more grace than he earned, more patience than he demonstrated throughout his marriage. They listened to his poetic ramblings about storms and sunsets. They endured his inappropriate confessions of former love. And when it was over, they went back to their happy life together while Kody returned to Robin and whatever remains of their increasingly isolated existence. David said it best when he told Kody to start with his kids. Until that happens, nothing Kody says will matter. So here is my question for you. Do you think Kody is capable of genuine change, or is this apology tour just another manipulation tactic? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you will not want to miss what is coming next.